The classroom was always too loud for Daniel. It wasn't just the voices of the teacher or the scratching of pencils. It was the laughter, the sneers, the whispered jokes that he knew were about him. It was the feeling of being watched, judged, dismissed. Daniel wasn't dumb. He just needed time. Time that no one ever gave him. He struggled with reading, stumbled through math, and hesitated when the teacher called on him. Every incorrect answer was met with sighs of frustration, some from the teacher, but mostly from his classmates. "Seriously, Daniel?" someone would mutter. "He's so slow," another would say, just loud enough for him to hear. And every mistake added another crack to the fragile hope he still held onto. The hope that maybe, just maybe, things would get better. But they never did. It started small. A chuckle when he answered something wrong. A rolled eye when he hesitated too long. But soon, it became worse. "Hey, Danny, what's 2 plus 2? Think hard now. I bet even a kindergartner is smarter than him. Why don't you just drop out? You're not going to pass anyway." Every word dug into him like tiny needles, small but relentless. He tried to pretend it didn't bother him. He forced himself to smile sometimes, laugh along with them as if it were all just a harmless joke. But inside, he was drowning. At home, things weren't much better. His parents didn't understand. "You need to apply yourself," his father would say. "You're not even trying," his mother would add. But he was trying. He stayed up late, going over notes, watching tutorials online, trying desperately to make sense of numbers and words that refused to stay in place. But no matter how much effort he put in, nothing seemed to change. And the worst part? No one believed in him. Then came the math test, the one he had studied for, the one he had convinced himself he would do well on. As he sat at his desk, gripping his pencil tightly, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: hope. But the moment the test was handed back, it was crushed. A large red F was scrawled across the top. He heard the whispers before he even looked up. Of course he failed. What else is new? Did he even try? Maybe he should just stop coming to school. Daniel's hands trembled as he folded the paper, stuffing it into his backpack as quickly as possible. His throat tightened, and his vision blurred. He wanted to run, to disappear. The rest of the day passed in a haze. He barely heard the teacher's words, barely felt his feet moving through the hallways. When the final bell rang, he didn't rush home. Instead, he wandered the streets, letting the cold air bite at his skin. For the first time, he thought about what it would be like if he just wasn't here anymore. Would it be easier? Would the world be quieter without him? Would anyone even notice? That night, Daniel didn't eat dinner. He told his parents he was tired, that he just wanted to sleep. They didn't ask questions. In the silence of his room, he stared at the ceiling, his thoughts heavier than ever before. If tomorrow was going to be just like today, what was the point? If his whole life would be filled with failure, mockery, and loneliness, did he really want to live it? And in that darkness, Daniel made a decision. The next morning, his bedroom door didn't open. When his mother knocked, there was no answer. When his father called his name, there was only silence. And when they finally opened the door, their world shattered. The news spread through the school like wildfire. Daniel was gone. At first, no one believed it. But then they saw the empty chair in class, the unopened locker, the absence of the boy they had tormented for so long. For the first time, the classroom was silent. The ones who had mocked him sat with their heads lowered. The ones who had ignored him wished they had spoken to him. The teacher's voice cracked as she tried to continue the lesson, her eyes glassy with unshed tears. They placed flowers on his desk, but he would never see them. They wrote letters, apologizing for their cruelty, but he would never read them. They cried, but he would never know. And in that sorrow, they finally understood. Words had weight. Some words could build, but others could break. And sometimes, broken things could never be fixed. The school held an assembly in Daniel's memory. Teachers spoke about the importance of kindness, of compassion, of standing up for those who struggle. A counselor told students to reach out if they were hurting, to talk to someone, to never let their pain go unheard. But the lesson that stayed with them the most wasn't in the speeches. It was in the empty seat, the desk that would never be used again, the realization that their words had helped push someone over the edge. And in the end, Daniel became more than just a boy who struggled in school. He became a reminder that kindness costs nothing but can mean everything. A reminder that silence can be deadly. A reminder that sometimes just one kind word could be enough to save a life. And for those who had hurt him, the regret would stay with them forever, because they had learned the truth too late.